I'm gonna need to start working on getting this rear bumper off the car. In order to do that, I'm gonna have to give myself a little bit of room. So we're gonna pull this out a little bit. I have enough room on this side. It's gonna be a little bit tight, but this other side over here is going to be tight. So one of the first things you're gonna need to do is to actually pull both of the wheels off so you can get to the inside fenders and basically unbolt the fender from the actual rear quarter panel in here. There should be one bolt here, kind of similar to the front bumper, and then the rest of it I think is just snap in. And then you'll have to pop the trunk. There's a couple clips or whatnot underneath on the underside of this. So we're gonna go ahead, roll this out, and give us some room to work on it. Okay guys, we're working on the driver's side rear first. We got the wheel off. First thing you're gonna wanna do, come back here. You have a couple of 8mm bolts that need to be taken out. There's one at the bottom, two, and then there's three. And then if we look around this whole entire fender liner here, it's a bunch of those same push pin clips. They're used everywhere on the car. You got a couple here, one on the inside here. If you come over to this side, we got one in the back there. There's one right here. And then we're also gonna have, it looks like a couple of nuts. This is a 10mm. So we got one here, and then there's also one up here. So we'll take all those off. And then there should also be another nut on the bottom side. And one more actually right here that I missed too, right by the strut tower. Now with the liner out of the way, this is what it looks like on the inside. This whole piece here is your rear bumper. What I'm talking about here with this bolt that mates up the fender and the rear bumper together. So it's gonna be right here. That's where the bolt is. You may need to put a wrench on the backside in order to get it out, but this is a 10mm bolt. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that off. And then this part here, once that's out of the way, should be just snap clips all the way up to there. So I'm gonna get that bolt out and try to just pull on this and tug it, so that way this side will be out and loose. So as I had mentioned, this bolt's out. I was just starting to pull on this a little bit, and you can see these like tabs in here where there's clips. So you can just kind of work your way up. Just be careful with it, because you don't want this to bend too much, because you can crack it. But we're just gonna work our way all the way up so we can get this side off, and then we'll go on to the other side and work on doing the same thing on the other side. We're all out on this side here. Take it all the way up to this, and then don't go anything past that. I believe we do have to take this rear taillight section out right here, because I think there's either a bolt or something that's on the underside of this that's actually holding this in place. So do not force this, whatever you do. We're gonna go do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll come back and we'll see what else we have to do underneath this. Passenger side, bolts out. I have this unclipped out all the way up to here. So we are on to the next step. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this trunk and start working on getting these rear tail lights out, and then I'll take a look at the center and see what I need to move here. Trunk's now open. We're gonna start by removing a couple of these clips. These are just push pin clips on both sides here, and that'll allow us to hopefully pull this carpet back enough to be able to get access in here. And then we're also going to need to get, sounds like this whole carpet piece is gonna have to go, because it's gotta go back, so that way we can get underneath this trim piece right here and get to the underside of this bumper. This piece right here, it just has four of these clips on the underside right there, right there. So this part will just lift right up and snap off. It's also another clip right here and right here for the side carpet pieces. So I was able to get these off. They're just two push pins, that one goes on the top here, one goes on the bottom. Unfortunately, my bottom one did break, but it's not that big of a deal. So now that we have those off, we have access to getting to this tail light if you just push this back. So we have the one nut right there, and then there's also another one, exact same, right back there. These should be 10mm. I'm just gonna go ahead and hit these with the impact real quick and pull these out, along with this piece right here for the actual light. Just unclip this, and then we should be able to get this tail light out. It'll slide right out just like so. There's no bolts in here, but just taking a look at it, you can see it's like these are just a different type of clip. basically what it looks like to me is you're just going to take a big flathead screwdriver, push down in each one of these slots, and as you push down in this slot, you're going to want to take this, pull this up. Actually, looks like you can just pull this up and get it over the top of that. Same thing with this one. Lift this up just a little bit, and there we go. So now that we're behind it, there's not anything that's holding it on anymore, and we're also disconnected all the way here. So we'll do this to the other side. So now we're moving to the underside of the dart, and as we can see down here, there's a couple other things that we're going to need to remove before we can take out this complete assembly. And it looks like there's also a couple different options for things that we can do. So this is like the undercover piece right here. So we can either remove, it looks like, this plastic tray piece from these bolts on this row, or from these bolts on this row. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these ones right here, and this should release this whole plastic piece and bring it down. So I'm going to start by removing these three. I just tugged on this a little bit after I removed all those bottom pieces, and it was starting to come off. It does look like, if you look in here, there's like these tabs, and they go into these little almost push pins in here. So these are going to go ahead and break loose. I'm just going to completely pull this off, and I'm just going to move this around to the front of the vehicle or somewhere else so it doesn't get damaged more. I was wrong about this. There still is some more things that you do need to take off. Number one is there's a little harness clip right here on the passenger side. This is just a snap clip. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove this real quick. Pinch it, pull it. Okay, so that's now off. And we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the bottom and see what we're missing. I'm gonna go ahead and just remove all these bolts right here just so I can get this whole entire complete tray off the car. So now that this bottom under tray is off the car, here it is down right there. I just took a look up in here, and if you can see, there is a bolt right here with this blue paint on it. This is 10 millimeter, and then there's also another one right there. Same story. I believe these are the last two that are holding this on underneath that cover tray that you do need to take off, it looks like.